I have a story to tell you about Toro, and I want to dig deeper into Toro Business Loans. How do you get approved? How do you get approved massively? The mistakes you need to avoid and everything. Okay, so here are the synopses I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about Toro, I want you to think about two kinds of business loans. You have startup business loans, and then you have business loans for established businesses. So for startup business loans, they probably will cap you at around $175,000. If you have an established business loan, if you have an established business and you're looking for a business loan, they will cap you at around 575. So when you add those two, Toro is actually providing business funding up to $750,000, 575 plus 175. Okay, so that's $750,000, which is really great when you think about it. I mean, here is a mid-tier alternative lender that's actually that has very flexible lending requirements. What we love about Toro is that their customer service is just fantastic. They're really startup friendly. They'll work with you, and Toro is basically like a low doc business loan in terms of they're not asking a lot of questions. Of course, they want to have some specifics, but they're not going to bother you with too many questions. Okay, so this is really good. So when we talk about Toro, how does Toro really work? I mean, Toro does work in a very simple way. So basically, you apply online, you get approved real fast, and you get same day funding. The cool thing is that you want to be pre-approved. So if you are interested in applying for a business loan through Toro, please make sure you go online, or you can actually call their customer service. But what we have seen, we have actually multiple clients that actually went through Toro, and they did the online thing. It was pretty easy. It took about 2 to 3 minutes. They'll ask you very basic questions about your business, about yourself. They don't really care about your FICO score. In some cases, they might care, but if they do, the minimum FICO score is very low. So 575, 600. So this is really decent. Okay, nothing complicated. You don't have like a traditional lender here, traditional bank here. So you can apply online. You get fast approval. We love the fact that Toro just wants you to give them three things: your revenue, your operational history, and the sector you're in. So depending on the sector you're in, they might actually ask more questions. Like if you have like if the economy is a little bad in your sector, then they might ask questions. But otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward sort of loan process. Let's talk about fast business loans. So if you were to go through Toro, they have several sort of business loan options, and one I want to talk about is called the fast loans. So fast business loans, they will actually approve you from 10,000 all the way to $500,000. In some parts of the country, they will approve you all the way to $575,000. But if you are like on the East Coast and on the West Coast, East and West, they will approve you from 10 grand all the way to half a million. If you're somewhere in the middle, in the Midwestern states, they could probably go all the way to 575. Okay, especially if you have a great relation, if you've had a great relationship with the Toro, like you have actually borrowed from them and you have repaid with no problem. This is really good. So with Toro, you can have same day decisions. Okay, you can have funding in as few as 2 business days, and you have flexible repayment options. So that's what we love a lot. So they want you to show like your P&L, your profit and loss statements. They want you to show a business plan, like a concise business plan. They're not asking for like a very lengthy business plan, like hundreds of pages. No, if you have 10 pages, you talk about the industry you're in, your business model, how you intend to monetize your business, or how you currently monetize your business, and like some kind of SWOT analysis, like talk about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in your industry. So very, I would say an abridged version of your business plan. So they ask for that. In some cases, they might ask for your tax returns for the last 2 years, but just want to make sure that you need to have a business checking account, because they're not going to wire the money to your personal checking accounts. It doesn't matter if you are a single member LLC or a sole proprietorship. You need to have a company. You need to have a business, a legit business. You need to have a legit business account. Okay, so this is really important. So when we talk about like to sort of go back to today's topic, we're having a conversation about how to be approved for a Toro business loan. You just need to remember that for a Toro business loan, you actually can spend the cash on a lot of things. You can use the cash for a regular cash flow, so like for working capital. You can use the cash to purchase inventory for expansion or renovations at the business level. You can have business equipment upgrades, You can use the cash for marketing, advertising, and more. So brand boosting, all that kind of stuff, not a problem. Toro is really flexible. I want to talk to you about the strategy you need to have. If you're trying to get a Torro business loan, you need to have the right strategy to make sure that you are getting the loan that you need. You're getting the loan real fast too. By the way, if you have any questions, it's always important to call Toro. I mean, as I said, their customer service is there. Customer service will work with you. Usually, they will assign a funding specialist to you, so that whether you have a startup, whether you have a business with bad credit, whether you have an established business with that's making money, all kinds of scenarios are actually welcome. So if you're looking for, let's say you want to have like, if you've been in business for 3 months, you can actually go to Toro and they will fund you. You might get a same day approval, not a problem. If you can get cash in as few, like you can get access to capital in as few as 2 business days. And if you have bad credit, not a problem. So they actually cover all types of industries. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking about legit industries though, but because when you start getting to anything a little dicey, Toro is not doing that. Okay, for example, if you're doing adults or you're doing gambling or you're doing, I mean, quote unquote, those sensitive industries, Toro is actually staying away from that. But if you have like your regular your regular gamut of quote unquote legit businesses, then Toro will fund that, not a problem. Okay, and so we're talking here about established businesses. So businesses that have been in existence for more than 2 years, not a problem. If you are looking for a working capital, not a problem. So you can basically get the cash from Toro Capital to relieve, I would say, production commitments, capital you need to maintain operations. The reason why I'm insisting here is that Toro will ask you, what is the use of loan proceeds? Like, you need a business loan from us? Okay, not a problem. Our maximum loan amount goes from 500,000 to 575 for established businesses and up to 175,000 for startups. What are you going to use the cash for? Talk to us about that. Okay. So you can say, I want to use the cash to expand. I want to use the cash for working capital. I want to use the cash for equipment purchases. Like, let's say I want to buy a piece of machinery for my factory, or I want to buy like a new van, a new delivery van for my online shipping business. So you have to contextualize the use of loan proceeds. And one thing you also need to pay attention to, if you are going to go with Toro, just make sure that you check your credit before. Now, Toro doesn't care about your credit. However, they do care about things like very bad derogatory items, like if you have like bankruptcies going on, or let's say identity theft, like anything that could actually jeopardize your reputation. Make sure you clean it before actually talking to Toro. Okay, Toro actually has a very has latitude in terms of the credit score they will consider, but there are certain derogatory items that will not go there. So just make sure that check your credit. It's not a big deal, it'll probably take you a day or whatever. So you check your credit, and so check both your personal credit and your business credit. On the business side, if you have an established DUNS number, you'll probably have a paydesk score. Toro is kind of flexible too. They will probably work with you if you have a 80. Even if you have a 70 to like between 70 and 90, they will work with you. Okay. And it's all about making sure that you are able, like if you have a negative credit score on the business side, make sure that you are able to explain why, because Toro is pretty understandable. They were pretty understanding. They will listen to you. They will see what kind of anything you have. Remember, it's all about you providing context, right? That's why originally I spoke about you making sure that you have a business plan, not a very long business plan, but a short business plan that contextualizes what's happening in your industry. Okay, so if your industry is going through ebbs and flows, at least on the revenue side, you want to explain why, and so you want to contextualize things. You want to have your financial statements. You want to have your business tax returns in some cases, because Toro will ask you for things like revenue, expense items. So they want to have like how often you are actually generating revenue, the number of days your sales are outstanding. Those sort of very detailed, but it's not really complicated though. If you actually ask quote unquote ask your QuickBooks will get you all those and all those ratios that Toro might ask for, and Toro will ask for those for those ratios. So with Toro, you have a constellation of business funding options. You can have next day funding. You can have funding for expansion capital. You can have funding for contract fulfillment. If you have credit problems, you could qualify, not a problem. And the good thing is that Toro is still there for you all the time. Let me quickly talk to you about the sign up process. So if you are looking for a Toro business loan, here is a sign up process. How does everything works? The things you have to do. So first of all, you need to create an account with Toro. Yeah, that I mean they all do that. You have like all those big online, not big, but all those online lenders, like the fintech lenders, they have that. So you need to create an account on Toro. So choose a username and create a password. What will happen is that Toro will send you a confirmation email. Just check your email and just add Toro to your safe list. Okay. So you want to explain your goal. What will happen here is that once you actually go, see, the thing is that with Toro, you have the option to either pre-qualify or just qualify. Either way, they're not going to check your credit ASAP. They'll let you know anyway. So you need to explain your goal. So you need to explain the objective of the funds your business receives. Remember, I just spoke to you about that, right? The use of loan proceeds. You need to contextualize why you are applying for a Toro business loan. So that's step number 2. Explain your goals. The third step is you need to tell them about your business. So there's a section called Tell Us About Your Business. So here you want to list your income, your expenses, the number of employees you have, the owners, and the current business status. So is the business still open? Is the business like on the verge of bankruptcy? Is the business sort of, like a little shaky, whatever? What is, as the accountant say, what is the going concern status? What is the status of going concern? And also in terms of compliance at the state side, do you have your certificate of good standing? Because Toro wants to make sure you are a legit business, because they're not going to fund a business that is not legit, that is not compliant with the basic rules and regulations of the land, right? So once you provide your information about your business, you will receive a pre-qualification. So you'll receive an instant funding amount that your business could qualify for. And again, remember the maximum here goes from 500 to 575. And so once you see your funding option, and once you are comfortable with it, with that, just lock in your approval. So if required, upload supporting details and get a written funding guarantee. And then so once everything is fine, you can draw the funds. And everything that I'm telling you can happen within 6 hours to 2 days. Okay, it can be really that fast. So you approve the request, and Toro will initiate the funding and transfer to your bank account the money. That's fine. Let's quickly talk about the funding options that you have with Toro. So with Toro, you have 2 business loan programs. So you have the loan programs for established businesses. Then you have the funding programs for startups. So what they call it the BVR, that's for established businesses. I'm actually blanking right now on what that means. I'll probably ask from our staff to send me the info. So the BVR is for established businesses. And so that's number 1. And number 2, you have the SLOC program. So the SLOC program is for startups. So the thing here is that for the established businesses, they want you to be in business for 6 months or more. They want you to generate gross income, gross revenue, if you will, above $10,000 per month. So your monthly revenue should be $10,000 at least. You need to prove your business identity. So we're speaking here about articles of incorporation or articles of organization. And there has to be a certificate of good standing from the state. So Toro wants to see a certificate of good standing from your state authorities that show that you are a legit business. And here, you can actually qualify for $2 million in maximum funding. $2 million, okay? So that's called the BVR program at Toro. And as we're still talking about today's topic, we're having a conversation about how to be approved for a Toro business loan. So you have the BVR program, that's for established businesses, and then you have the SLOC program for startups. Okay, here the minimum requirements are kind of simple. They want you to have a credit score above 600. You need to have less than 5 credit inquiries in the past 90 days. New or existing businesses are allowed. and you can get up to 150,000 maximum funding. So you can see here the delta. So if you are in the BVR program, you need to be an established business, so you can actually qualify for up to $2 million. But if you are in the SLOC program, you can be either a shaky business or a startup business, and the maximum loan amount here, business loan amount, $150,000. Either way, you have to talk to a Torro counselor first to sort of see which category you fall into. No matter what, you have to speak to someone. Let me give you a few pro tips before we close to this conversation. It's really important to understand that once you get qualified for a Torro business loan, everything starts from there, right? So you want to actually plan right away the repayment period. So Torro is not going to give you 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Torro might give you 3 years or 2 years, because Torro is really in the short term, and because Torro is actually dealing with in some cases subprime borrowers on the business side, so they understand their risk level is kind of high. So what I want to say here is that once you get your funds, your Torro funds in your bank account, make sure that you plan the repayment ASAP. So just automate everything. So Torro might want you to pay them every 2 weeks or every week or every month, but it's important for you to plan that so you don't actually miss a payment. Because if you miss a payment, Torro might recall the whole business loan. If you miss one payment, Torro might recall the whole business loan. So you want to make sure you never miss a payment, and you always want to talk to your Torro counselor. So you are going to be in contact with your Torro business counselor, business loan rep or whatever. So that person, your funding specialist, that person will give you all the answers that you need to make sure that you are on the good side of Torro's, internal controls or internal rules and regulations. And you also want to, if there is any updates in your business in terms of more productivity or any sort of, I would say, structural elements in your industry, in the economy, whatever, you want to let your Torro funding specialist know. Okay, so if sales, I'm not trying to say to scare the hell out of them, but you just need to make them know if there might be a problem or if there might be some kind of a delay, because that way you can work out whatever problems might happen beforehand, before it really happened. Okay, and what I want to say also is that Torro has been working in this industry for the last 20 years, even more than that, and they have actually dealt with a lot of businesses, no matter where they are in their operational stage. So it's always important to understand that even if you think you're the only one in your industry, you're definitely not, because Torro has thousands of clients, and they probably have other clients in the same industry as yours, so they probably know what's happening anyway. But when you let them know beforehand, this is kind of cool because it allows them to actually plan their risk mitigation strategies accordingly. Okay, so the burden is on you to contact Torro to make sure that everything is fine. Same thing if you have a major drop in your credit history, because depending on how you set up your business, if changes in your personal credit history might have an impact on the business credit or vice versa, then you need to let Torro know. Either way, they have an internal team within Torro that actually tracks all their exposure, tracks whatever is happening with the businesses in which they have invested. So they really want to make sure that they are on top of whatever is happening in your industry. But it's always good for you to be forthcoming, to be transparent with anything. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just quickly talking to you about Torro Business Loan, how to be approved, and I gave you a synopsis. Let's do a quick recap here. I talked to you about the synopsis, fast loans at Torro, the strategy you need to have, the sign up, the funding options, the pro tips, and here now we're speaking about the recap. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.